got red root floater here and here and here, and that all started just from a couple little leaves that I bought online. I basically have an unlimited supply of red root floaters. Whenever I set up a new tank, I've got somewhere to go to get some nice floating plants. Today I'm going to show you how to get these plants red, how to propagate them, and basically all the basics you need to know. So if you're interested, stay tuned. With that said, let's just dive straight in. Okay, so red root floater, or Pyllanthus Fluitans, is a very popular aquarium plant. It's a floating plant, and just like its name, it floats at the top of your tank. But yeah, basically they just stay afloat, and then you'll see their red roots in the aquarium, and they've got red leaves. So from above, they look really nice. So if you got like a little patio bowl or something, or a tank that's on the floor, some vibrant red root floaters are a great option and something very pleasing to look at. Red root floater is actually a really easy plant to grow, but there's like a couple different components. It depends how you want it to grow and what colors you want to get out of it. So for example, you'll get red root floaters maybe with green leaves, and that is actually normal, and that's still red root floaters. Even though it's not red, they get green really easily. So whenever they're in low light conditions, they'll get green, not red. So probably why you're buying them green, although when they are in low lighting conditions, they tend to grow really well. So I tend to see that if you want to propagate them and grow them and sell them, then I recommend growing them in low lighting. They get green, but they propagate so easily, and then you can add them to a high lighting tank and they'll turn red within like a couple weeks. And yeah, it just looks amazing. Because in this tank, it's very bad lighting in here. It's a pretty cheap and weak light, so I've got lots of this growing, but it's all green, so it doesn't look amazing, but it still looks great actually. It's not the red color you want it to be. But then when I moved some of them to this tank, they turned red just like this one, if we'll focus. So yeah, you tend to see, depends on lighting, the higher the lighting, the more red they get. And also iron really helps to get them to that red coloration. Now, red root floaters originate from the Amazon. If you have like an Amazon only tank, that's even another cool little plant you can add originating from the Amazon basin. But yeah, so this plant doesn't like high flow because it's a floating plant, and it won't really grow very well if there's like loss of surface movement, so just be aware of that. But besides that, you're fine. Now, when it comes to just growing this aquarium plant, it's really as easy as putting it into a tank, as long as you got some decent lighting, or at least low lighting works, but make sure you have like some proper aquarium lighting, not ambient lighting from the room. And you just chuck in the tank. I also recommend using a liquid fertilizer in that tank. It really does help. Just like all floating plants, red root floaters are going to suck up any nutrients in the water column. They're going to suck up as much as they can, as quick as they can. So if you have like a planted aquarium and you've got lots of other plants that demand lots of fertilizer, then it's really important that you make sure that it distributes. I recommend spot dosing fertilizer because basically the floating plants will get to those nutrients as quick as they can. I think red root floaters are great for breeding fish and that sort of thing. Their roots provide great protection as long as you've got a nice dense amount of red root floaters. You only really need to start off with like maybe 5 to 6 pieces to get like a 20-gallon tank covered in this stuff within like a month or two. But of course, give it a bit of time and patience and you will get amazing growth out of this plant. Another benefit of red root floater is that it does act as a biological filtration. So meaning because they are going to take up a lot of those nutrients, and that's just basically giving you some filtration in case you overfeed your tank. In most situations, I do recommend having some mechanical filtration, even if it's just a tiny little internal or sponge filter. Now, the last thing we need to talk about this plant is how to propagate it. Propagating it is really easy. So if you take a look, I'm not sure if you can see very well, it's like this one little cord, and it just keeps all the leaves together, and over time, the cord will grow and develop new leaves along it, and it'll just get longer and longer. And naturally what will happen is the plant will then break apart once it's too long, then it'll turn into 2. And that happens a lot in the tank, but also you can quicken the growth and the propagation of your plant by just ripping the cord. And then you have 2. So just like that, we've got 2 pieces of red root floaters, or just 2 red root floaters. Yeah, that's how you propagate it. Really easy, just rip it at the little cord, just chuck it in an aquarium, have maybe some liquid fertilizer in there, and iron really does help develop the red if you don't have an RGB spectrum light. So yeah, that's basically how to grow, propagate, and redden this aquarium plant. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content just like this. But other than that, have an awesome day, and I'll see you all in the next video.